Is this week different? I mean, what's your mindset on Monday of a week where you're may possibly, play a full game?
Well, I don't think it changes much for me, honestly. Being the second string this year, I've always prepared like I was going to play, even though I probably wasn't. So the preparation and how I'm going to go about being a starter, if I am the starter, it's not going to change because it's the same preparation for me because I'm going to do the same thing.
Potentially getting those reps in practice. How much do you think that's going to help? Familiarity with receivers making checks and certain calls.
I think it'll be good. I think I was a little bit, especially with the clock management and communicating everything to all the receivers and everything. The O-line was not real good, so having those reps with those guys, communicating them, and getting lined up better. I think just more reps and throwing balls to the receivers and just communicating with the O-line, handoffs to the running backs. It's just all going to improve. The more reps you get, of course.
Were there specific instances Saturday that you can remember where it was like, where you were talking about the communication and things like that, getting lined up right, was particularly off?
I couldn't think of one spot, but I could feel myself at times in the game saying, make sure you get the signals right, make sure you say the right thing to the line, and just because I haven't really been in that situation, playing that many snaps since probably 5 years ago, so just making sure going through the process a little slower than usual, and I got to speed that up. I got to be better at that this week for sure.
Obviously, even going back to high school, always preparing to be the starter. What kind of things does that entail, especially going into this week?
For me, just watching film, throwing more routes with receivers, of course, and just it really doesn't change too much how I've always done it. It's just making sure I know the game plan backwards and forwards, and really communicating with the coaches and the rest of the players how we need to get this thing done.
You have guys on the team, come up to you and said anything about, maybe coming up on Saturday or, telling you about your game and, offering any words of encouragement?
Of course. Everybody's been, I got so many texts after the game and so many people calling me. Everybody was encouraging. Coaches, players, family, friends. It was really good having their support at the end of the day, being there for me, of course.
To hit Mike Thomas there at the end of the game, obviously, you'd like to come out with the win, but to get that first touchdown, what was that like whenever you hit that throw?
It was a good feeling. I really didn't realize, I really didn't think about it until I actually was walking off the sidelines, and Tyler Matthews, the transfer from TCU, kind of was like, was that your first touchdown? I was like, yeah, that was the first one. I really didn't think about it because we were down just thinking about next play and how we could possibly get back into the game. So when he brought that, I was like, I didn't really realize.
Today or maybe yesterday, did you wake up a little more sore than usual?
Definitely. It's a good sore, but definitely haven't had that soreness in a while for sure, especially playing a college football game. So definitely a little bit more sore than usual, of course, no doubt.
What went into your, you went to Brevard, is that how you pronounce it?
Brevard, yeah.
What went into your decision to leave there and come here?
Really didn't feel like I had an opportunity to play probably. It wasn't really my type of system, and they ran the triple option. I'm not a great runner by any means. That's just not what I do. So, once I found out that, I went through the spring, tried to find a place to go, and, luckily I found Southern Miss, and it worked out great.
What were some of the other places you were looking at?
I was looking at a bunch of places. I'd probably say around 15 to 20 schools I actually contacted, emailed, or called. Nobody, NAIA schools, D3s, D2s, D1 FCS, nobody had a spot. Nobody wanted me to come. And luckily, my mom actually saw Coach Robert Matthews at the time, who was recruiting my area, and she works at the high school. Of course, said that my son's looking for a place to play. Called him. He said he had a locker spot, so it was great. It was great knowing that, for sure.
Who was that, Matthews?
Robert Matthews, yeah. He was the recruiting coordinator and the Titans coach maybe at the time for Doors last year.
I believe it's in South Alabama now.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator there.
I guess you say your preparation doesn't change too much week to week. I guess talking to us 2 times in 3 days, is that maybe the most different part about this week?
Yeah, it definitely has actually. The funny thing is, my mom's calling me now. When you have an interview, make sure you do this. Being a mom, of course, reminded me of so many different things. She's like, make sure you speak clearly, make sure you look at the camera. I was like, yes, ma'am. So of course, but yeah, of course, this changes a little bit, but it's nothing I'm